What's up, everyone? Please let me know if you can hear me okay over on the YouTube stream. I'm just making sure that that is all set. Oh man. Okay. Cool. Cool. I'm just gonna wait for a couple more people to join. Not super certain which way we're gonna take this today, but that's what I love about these lives is that we start off one place and we end up somewhere else where I didn't think we'd get to, but it's always fun. So, if you guys are joining right now, how are you? Happy Wednesday. I said we'd be going live possibly again this week, which we went live on Monday. This will probably be the last time I'll be live this week, and next week I will not be going live at all. So, yeah, let's hop in there. Let's get some questions. It'll be a little bit before I'm back. Hey, Peter, how are you? Man, you've been catching almost every single live, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. So yeah, we will be tasting through a new bottle that I got, Quintaliza. I've done a slight review on it, but it was just a tiny little sample. So we'll be tasting through this. I want to talk about the cocktail contest that I'm putting out, and we can go from there. Uncle Andy, is Sotol supposed to have a bunch of sediment in the bottle? I bought a bottle and got a bunch of stuff that sinks to the bottom of the bottle in it. So I don't know how to answer that specifically for you. I think that possibly, what is happening? Sorry, I'm just, one of the things that I've discovered recently is that sometimes there are things in the distillation process that just kind of like, there is some sediment. I'm not saying this specifically to Sotol, and sometimes there's a lot of alcohol that'll be cold filtered. But that actually takes away a lot of the flavors. So sometimes sediment isn't always a bad thing. I mean, I don't want to tell you that it isn't like it's super safe because I don't know what's happening with your bottle specifically. It can happen with a lot of different spirits. Sometimes it's from the barrel. Sometimes it's from other things. So sorry, I wish I could be of more help, but I don't know what to tell you. While we're just waiting for a couple more folks to join in, let's talk about. You know what? Let's talk about Cascanes since I have the bottle right in front of me. A lot of you guys may know I was actually down in Mexico a little over a month ago. It was the end of January. It was me and like 20 other of the like coolest people that you know that make cocktail and alcohol content on the internet. And we all got to go down to Mexico and get to see how Cascanes is made. And it was this amazing trip, right? We've gotten some pushback and hate on it, and it's just really interesting to me. So I actually have 2 videos that I finally have gotten around to editing from that trip. They're a little bit longer. They'll most likely be over 15 minutes long because I think to really distill, get it, my pun? To really distill what we went through down there, like I wanted to do it justice. You know what I mean? It was the first time I had ever seen tequila production up close. And so I really try to take a lot of care in documenting the entire process. So one of the things that I have these 2 videos that are coming out. One of them is focused more on how the trip was from a perspective of like being with everybody and kind of how fun it was and getting to talk to them and what was the day-to-day for us like. And the other one is more of a narrative-driven explanation of how tequila is actually made, like real good tequila and the processes that make a tequila good versus bad, and kind of showing that up close. So keep an eye out for those videos. I don't know if they're going to be put out next week. I'm still trying to figure out my scheduling for the next month. Look at that. On TikTok, they gave me a hat and a mustache, and that was really cool. But anyway, we will keep an eye out for that because I think those 2 videos I'm super proud of. I'm so excited to finally put it out there because it's been over a month that I've been working on this with my editor and getting, people to kind of give me some feedback to make sure that each video is as good as it can be. And so, Uncle Andy, yeah, I mean, if your cork looks like it broke apart, I would just throw out the bottle because it's probably not good. Have you made any batangas at your restaurant? Actually, yeah. During Batanga Week, I made a batanga the special for the restaurant for the week. So I wasn't just posting about it. I actually made it a special for our restaurant. We sold a bunch of them, actually. It was really funny because people kept, everybody would come into the restaurant and be like, oh, I want to get a batanga because that video went dumb viral. It hit like over a 1,200,000 views on TikTok, and I think it just hit 1 million on Instagram. So I still have people coming into the restaurant like now, even though it's almost been a month. Actually, it's been a month since I posted that video asking for batangas, and I think that's just like the power of that drink. So I told you it was gonna be the drink of the year. I wasn't just saying it, you know. Keith Bryan, just finished my first bottle of Cascanes. Thanks for the recommendation. Well, thank you. I'm happy that you liked it. I mean, I don't get anything out of you enjoying it, but I get to know that you enjoyed it, and that's important to me. So, awesome. What is your favorite tequila cocktail? Ooh. I am going to answer that in a moment, but while I'm thinking about it, let's talk about my current cocktail competition. Because Nick is asking in the comments, when's your next cocktail competition? Why are we thinking about the next one when we're still doing the one now? So if you don't know, I posted a video about 2 days ago announcing the cocktail contest that I'm running. This contest is not sponsored. It's not like someone's giving me money to do this contest. This is literally just me putting on a community-focused event where folks can submit an original cocktail. The stipulations are you need to make an original cocktail. It can't be someone else's. You can't rip off of someone else. You need to submit it on the form of my website. It's in the link in my bio. And I will go through and select my favorites. Basically, like I'm going to select like 10 of them, and then I'm going to pick the 5, make a video on it, and then I'm going to announce the winner, and the winner gets $500. So this isn't a way to, like, I'm just trying to build up the readership of my newsletter and to engage in my community that we've been able to build over the last several years. It's maybe not the most direct way that I can give back, but I think it's the most fun way. So it's the inaugural cocktail competition. It's on the link in my bio. If you haven't seen the video about it, the deadline to submit is November 18th. Ali asks, how do submissions work? It's pretty self-explanatory on the website. There's clear instructions. Go through the link in my bio. It'll be right there. There's a step-by-step guide on how to do it. Darren Horan, have you used the Quintaliza in an espresso martini? No, not yet, but I'm hoping to do that soon. So yeah, that's how submissions work. It's very simple. It's going to ask you for your name, the inspiration behind the cocktail, the recipe of the cocktail, and a photo of the cocktail. And then I'm going to pick my favorites. We're going to select the 5 that I think are the best, and then we're going to basically do a video showcasing each one, and then I will pick a winner, and the winner will get $500. I'm not rich. I'm not Mr. Beast. I can't just start doing, oh, here's $1,000 for you and whatever. I don't even have that money. So I run a restaurant. That's what I do. So I am doing what I can with $500, and that's what I hope that that is good. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm not made of money. Pink Nuggets, do you sell cascanes at your bar? I do sell cascanes at my bar. I have every expression except for the añejo and their rosa reposado, which I never got my hands on because it was sold out very quickly. I think like 2 minutes it sold out. Miguel Martinez, since Fortaleza does not make an extra añejo, what is your favorite extra añejo? I'll be honest with you, with tequila, I'm way more leaning towards blancos and still strengths. I'm not the biggest fan of extra añejos. I think that a lot of brands that make extra añejos, this isn't across the board by any means, it's just my experience. A lot of brands that make an extra añejo, they are using it to like mask the inferior flavor. They're just trying to make it taste like bourbon. And if I want to drink bourbon, I'll drink bourbon. There's a couple of extra añejos that I've enjoyed. One of them was I think it was Siembra Valles that I tried recently, and it was awesome. Ali, what state is your bar in? In Massachusetts, which in my opinion is the greatest state, which is cool. Trying to see what other questions we got before we move on. Oh, I'm sorry. Someone asked me my favorite tequila cocktail. That's such a difficult one to answer. I think there's a lot of really great tequila cocktails out there. I'm not going to say this one's my favorite because I'm probably going to think of something better in a little bit. But there's one called the Medicina Latina, which is kind of like a spin-off of, or like a riff on a penicillin with mezcal, tequila, and ginger. And that one is really tasty. That might be one of them. We'll go with that. Are you Latino? Yes, I'm Brazilian. Dave asks, do you drink every day? Define drink every day. Do I taste something every day? Probably, more often than not. But do I like sit and have a cocktail every day? No, there's no chance in hell. There's no way. My liver could not handle that. Like I've been in this industry long enough that I want longevity. I've seen people burn out very quickly with, their alcohol consumption. And especially as I'm making content about alcohol, I'm very conscious about how much I drink, because it's too much, man. It's like, I think everybody needs to be, especially in this industry, you have to be very, very conscious about alcohol consumption and things along those. Hello, what do you think about Casamigos Cristalino? I'm going to refer you to what I think about Casamigos as a whole. If you're on this channel, you don't have to go far to find my opinion on Casamigos. There's a very popular video on my channel that you can just go and click. It's probably one of the most popular videos on my channel. Matt Smith, I just want to tell you thank you. Your videos got me on to tequila and it has been a great journey. Well, I'm happy to contribute in my little way to poison you slowly. Your videos randomly showed up on my feed some 2 years ago, and since I've been on the end of this tequila journey. Greg, well, I'm happy that you're participating. Don Fulano or Mijenta, I find those two brands to be vastly different from one another. I don't think they're in the same category. So I would probably lean to Don Fulano, but is it a fair comparison when Don Fulano is like more expensive? So it's like, I don't know. I don't think it's a fair comparison. Equinsu Ocha says, benefits of being a bartender is get to drink the good, I'm assuming you mean the good stuff. Yes, but it's also overrated. I think that don't get me wrong, having access to good booze and like being able to make killer cocktails is awesome. I think it's so great. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, man. It's tough to like, I'm not trying to glorify drinking at all. I know it might come across that way because I talk about alcohol and I talk about cocktails. But the truth is, I tell people, don't drink. If you don't drink, don't start because of me. Don't start because I make it look fun. That's the last thing I want. Now, if you're on this canoe to poisoning yourself that we're all on, and I can't convince you to stop, then come along for the ride. Because when done in moderation, I think it's a good thing. Someone asked, what's the best cachaça available in the U.S.? In my personal opinion, it's Novo Fogo. It's got to be. They are really awesome. I've done a whole video on my YouTube channel where I was down there. I got to see their whole process. I actually have another video coming out of what I was actually doing down there because I put on the cocktail menu for a dope concert that they put on in the middle of the rainforest. So keep an eye out for that. I've been teasing it for a while because I've just been waiting to really fine tune the ending of it. And so that should be out, I hope, within the next month. There's a lot that's been going on the content side for me. I want to give you guys a little bit of perspective. Like, I basically post one short video almost every single day, if not every other day. I have one weekly long form video that I put out every week. I have started a podcast with a really great mentor in the space. And so we haven't released any episodes of that podcast yet, but that's a whole other thing that we're doing. We're just waiting to backlog a couple more episodes. I also run a bar and restaurant. Like, this isn't a set. Like, this is literally, there's lights, because I put them here before my bartenders come into work, but this is a restaurant. Like, it works and operates as a restaurant and bar. People come and sit at the bar that you guys are currently occupying the space of. At least the cameras are. And yeah, it's a lot. I do a lot. People ask me, how do I sleep? I don't, really. So, is your restaurant in Massachusetts? It is. My restaurant is in Marlborough, Massachusetts. What is considered moderation in your opinion? If you have to ask that question, that's a personal question. Like, I don't know what to tell you about what is moderation for you. Everybody is different. Everybody's tolerance for alcohol is different. It's really personal. If you couldn't have any spirits and could only pick between wine or beer, which would it be? I love beer, but it's 100% wine. I don't even think it's a contest. Between wine and beer, wine wins like 1,000,000 times out of 10 for me. And beer's great. I love beer. But wine wins every time. Oh my gosh, it's super easy. Ray, if I read out what you're saying, will you stop? Chivas with soda and lemon juice. That sounds cool. That sounds great. Great. If I'm new to tequila, what should I know? I like that question because I usually don't get that question asked in that way. So what do you need to know about drinking tequila? Well, what I'll tell you is this: is that all of the stuff that you think is tequila, and if you've only had the most popular brands, you don't actually know what tequila tastes like. You know what a cheap imitation tequila tastes like. So if you are just getting into tequila, avoid things like Casamigos, Don Julio, the stuff that you've seen at bars. Don't drink that. If you really care about drinking good tequila, find out what's additive free. There's a whole website called Tequila Matchmaker, and they do a hell of a lot of great work. There's a whole list on their website of stuff that is additive free. Now, you can go based off of my recommendations, which I put out a lot, and I'm not saying that like I'm the biggest expert on this at all. But I do have a lot of videos recommending stuff. But do your own research. Look into stuff. Don't just buy it because it's like, oh, Louis said it's good, I'm gonna buy it. It's like, look into it. Like it's you know what I mean? Let's see what other questions we got. Let's see. You guys really need to be more creative with your questions. It's all the same stuff. Any insight on Fortaleza increasing production? I've noticed its scarcity growing by the day. If you've been noticing its scarcity growing by the day, it's been years since that scarcity's been growing. I will tell you that I know that there are plans to expand. Now, whether or not how quickly that'll happen, I do not know. That, and I don't think even they know. I know that their facility is tiny, and they are trying to build more things to be able to accommodate a larger production, but that's the last I've heard of it. I don't know how much more has happened. Efren Marquez, I believe that a secondary market for alcohol is the dumbest thing on the planet. I'm not going to tell you what I think you should sell it for. Share it with friends. Don't treat alcohol like it's a stock or an investment. I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I'm not saying that you have, so I'm not trying to single you out, but you've asked twice now about what price you should sell your Reposado at. I don't know. In my personal opinion, what I would do with it, I would give it to a friend if you didn't like it. I'm sure you can find people in this comment section that would love to just take it off your hands, but I'm not here to facilitate sales of secondhand spirits. I think it's so stupid. Do you find a noticeable difference between agaves grown at different elevations or soil? It's not that I find a difference in it. I know for a fact that soil and altitude does alter final flavors. I mean, have I done a scientific study where I'm writing down this bottle came from here and this bottle came from? No, I've never done that. But that's one of the cool things about these are agricultural spirits. They take the agricultural products. They literally come from a farm, from the ground, from dirt, from soil. And so obviously that stuff's going to impact it, right? Especially if it takes 6 to 8 years to grow to full maturity. So that stuff isn't like hypothetical. It's not like, oh, it's silly that they're growing it here. Like there's certain things that some producers will say is like a really big deal, but it's really just gimmicky. But truthfully, altitude and terroir, that shit's actually real. And like you can just talk to people in the wine world and they'll tell you that that's actually legit. With some spirits more than others. Oh my God, there's a weird curly here. I'm trying to get rid of that. I don't know. I gotta put that up there. Let's go this way. I'm sorry, I have to like really lean in to see this. What do you think of a tequila called Lagrimas? I actually posted a video last week talking about that exact one, Camilo. So if you want to check my YouTube, you'll find it. Have you visited a tequila distillery and which one? Yeah, I have. And that's actually what I was talking about earlier, which I'll just recap. So I was actually down on a trip to Mexico last month, or not last month, end of January. We went down to Cascanes' distillery. Super awesome. It was me and like 20 plus of the other biggest content creators in this alcohol cocktail space. And I have 2 videos, maybe more. I might be able to eke out a third one. But 2 main really awesome videos that I've spent the last month working on. From an editing standpoint to really make it pop and shine. One of them is more of a like cocktails recipes that shaped our trip along with like some vlogs thrown in. And the other one is more about the process of how real tequila is actually made, which is going to be really cool. And I've worked a lot on it and I really can't wait to see it. Okay, we're going to answer this question because I think it's really crazy. Is it possible to make tequila using yeast from my girl's VJJ? First of all, you're gross that you want to do that. Now, there is a creator that created a beer using that from herself. You can look it up on the internet. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I think it's gross, but it's very funny. You can look it up. It's funny. Alan Cardell. Hey, Louie, I would love it if you could do an episode of Long Island Lou. If I had the time, I would love to. I think Lou's a funny dude. I've seen a lot of his videos. He's been around for a while, and I respect what he does. Let's see. I think I missed a couple of questions. What's better for margaritas, mezcal or tequila? Well, the original margarita was made with tequila, so that's what I would say. There are other not saying that mezcal can't be good for a margarita, but I think like there are other great cocktails that'll accentuate the mezcal a little bit better. You guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. You guys really need to get more. You guys really need to get more creative with these questions. A lot of them are very boring. It's all the same shit all the time. Do you ever drink tequila at bars? Yeah, especially if there's good stuff. I try to go to places that have really good stuff. Usually. Bum bum bum. Bum bum ba-da-dum. Loved your video with Guy Fieri. Thanks, man. That was really a surprise for me. He was super endearing and a really nice dude, and I wasn't really sure what to think because I don't know. Yeah, people are on the TV or whatever, and like you think, oh, they're some type of way, but no. Guy is one of the super chillest dudes. He was very nice, very hospitable. We only put out like 30 something minutes of the interview, and I was with him talking to him for maybe a little over an hour, and he was incredible, man. I really, really appreciate the insight he gave me, and it was great. So while we're here, just reminding you guys, I'm giving away $500. I'm giving away $500. 500 buckaroonies. We are doing a cocktail contest. I posted a video 2 days ago. Go on the link in my bio. It is not sponsored. This is not some trap. All I'm asking is for you to subscribe to my newsletter. That's it. You can unsubscribe after. But if you submit an original cocktail, I'm going to make a video giving you a shout out. We're going to go through all of them, and I'm going to give you $500. Kirby Miller, sorry if this is boring, but I just found your YouTube and talk. What is your favorite tequila mixer? I don't know what that means. Do you mean the tequila I like to use in cocktails, or do you mean what I like to put tequila in? I make cocktails, so that's my favorite mixer. I make a legitimate cocktail when I want to drink a spirit, or I'll drink it neat. I do not buy any mixer and just mix it. Sorry. Alex Lamas, with all the overly populated agave planted in Mexico, do you think it affects the making of tequila? Yes, and actually, this newsletter that I was just mentioning is we are posting on Friday, but I'm gonna give you guys a little sneak peek. There is a video going around, actually Tequila Matchmaker put it up, that there's so much agave being planted, and it's just like there's way too much of it, that some farmers are actually just shredding the agave and feeding it to their cattle, which is wild, because rewind 2 years ago, agave prices were like so high that agave was like gold. You would never imagine just feeding your cattle it, but it's just like nuts. It's crazy. So yes, do I think it's going to impact it? Yeah, I think there's a lot of tequila brands that are going to be in for a very rude awakening in the next year or two. I know a lot of them are not going to survive the next year because of how much competition, oversaturation, and if there's a little bit of the dip in the economy, these brands are fucked. Sorry, excuse my language. I hope this doesn't get taken down, but they're not going to be doing well. Greg N. Your opinion on the possibility of brands producing a tequila that's really only a terrible vodka. I've talked plenty about bad tequila brands, so I'm not going to go into it more. Greg M. Have you ever talked about what got you into good tequila? Has your bar always had a good selection? It's grown. When I start, so to answer that question, we kind of have to rewind and talk about the start of my bar. So I opened my bar 5 years ago, this year, and the idea was always to showcase and highlight the focus on South and Latin American flavors and spirits. Now, I was only 25 at the time, so I was very inexperienced. I didn't know all that much, and there wasn't really that many resources that I could find, at least. Maybe I just wasn't looking in the right places, but I found one resource, which I'll show you guys. And it's Spirits of Latin America by Ivy Mix. And she owns a bar in Brooklyn called Leyenda. And I know I talk about this all the time, but it's how people always ask this question. I'm getting very bored of answering it, but we'll do it again. Jonathan Didario, what's the name of your restaurant? If you don't mind sharing, would love to visit with my boy Ali. The name of my restaurant is Laboratus Brazilian Barbecue and Bar. It's linked in my bios, all of them. Oh, thanks for the sunglasses, Edwin. Appreciate it. So this book, I bought it, and as you can see, I've beaten the hell out of it. It's probably the book that I've used the most. And in this book, Ivy talks about her trips down through South and Latin America, getting to know and learn these spirits from the ground up, from the people that make them. And that really made a huge impact on me, and especially with the kind of thing that I want to do. And it's actually been guiding some of the content that I have filmed and want to put out, that I think is more impactful than just standing in front of this camera and telling you guys what to buy. I'm very bored of that, to be perfectly honest with you, because that's just not creatively fulfilling. So I really am trying to branch out a little bit and do some more fun, interesting things within the space. We've got a couple of other ideas I will not mention quite yet, but this was the book that really made me start realizing, like, oh wait, not every tequila is the same, right? Because when I was in college, I used to drink Jose Cuervo Gold and Capri Sun. Like, that was what I drank when I was like 19. And so I was like, oh, I hate tequila. And then years go by, and it's like, oh, well, I don't hate tequila. I just didn't know what the hell tequila actually was. And so this was really the book that kind of kickstarted that. You can find it on Amazon. And if you're in New York City or around New York, go to Brooklyn. Go to Leyenda. It's dope. And if you follow me, if you like tequila and this kind of stuff, their selection is incredible. You'll find great cocktails. You'll find great food. I'm telling you right now, worth the trip alone. All right. We have a couple of other lame-ass questions. I'm going to keep just calling you guys out until you guys get more creative. I'm sorry. Imagine if I sat here for an hour and it was just like, where to find this? And I just started rattling off places. Like, y'all would be bored as hell. So let's get creative there, friends. Let's do something fun. Y'all asked, like, you guys treat me like Google. That's what really drives me up a wall. It's like, oh, where can I find this if I do this, this, and this? If I have a magic frog and I rub his belly and there's a genie that comes out, like, where can I get this tequila? Like, I don't know. Any bars in Oaxaca you would recommend? I've not been to Oaxaca. Would love to go. It's been on my list. I've heard only amazing things about Oaxaca, and I just have not been. What was your favorite part of your Mexico trip? Getting to spend time with other content creators in the space, because it's so funny, right? Like, I have a full-time job running a restaurant. I have to do all of that, day to day. I make content every single day, and it's like, it's hard because I do it alone. Like, I'm usually just standing here with just a camera. And so, I don't really get much interaction. I don't have content creator friends, or I didn't. I do now, I think. I hope they like me. And so it's Pancho the bartender. I will answer your question in a little bit. And Viet Bowie, I'll answer yours in a second too. I think those are both very interesting. So one of the funnest parts to me was getting to just hang out with other content creators and get to just chat about stuff that, like, I don't get to talk to. Like, my wife is super supportive. She's very willing to listen to some of the stuff I have to say, but it's like, she can be sympathetic, but she doesn't have empathy because she doesn't know, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't know what it's like to create content, and, like, it's not a fault of her at all, but she's like my confidant, right? But I don't have I didn't have creator friends. So my favorite part about the trip was just, obviously all the stuff that we saw down there was amazing, but just really having some camaraderie and friendship within the space just was awesome. It really means a lot to me. So yeah, that was my favorite part. Where's the bar or restaurant you work at? Well, it's not a restaurant that I work at. It's a restaurant that I own. And it's a bar and restaurant in Marlborough, Massachusetts called La Beredas Brazilian Barbecue and Bar. Oh, yes, I said we'd get there. So, Pancho the bartender, when do you know whether to use juices or purees? Depends on what you're trying to achieve. I don't use juices because they're usually watered down. And when you're working with cocktails, you want concentrated flavors so that you can actually balance it with other flavors. So I usually only use syrups and purees. And then Viet Bowie, in your personal experience, what do profitable cocktail bars do right? Those are two different questions, I think. What do good cocktail bars do right, and what do profitable bars do right? I think that one of the only ways to answer that is you need to have a good mix on your sales. You can't just want to make really kick-ass cocktails, because those can be very expensive. So it's about, like, how do you balance your books? How do you balance your costs? How do you make money on top of a bar? Are you in a major city, or are you in the suburbs? We're in the suburbs, so it's like we know that our food sales are going to have to be higher so we can sustain ourselves. Whereas if you're in a city, you can do straight up just cocktails, depending on what city you're in and how expensive everything is, and be successful. So what do I think people do right outside of a business standpoint? I think that they I think that what good bars and restaurants do right is they create an unforgettable experience. One thing that I always train my staff on is that we don't sell food here. You know, if people were hungry, they would either go home and make food. They would go to McDonald's. We have a Burger King right next door, right? So perks of being in the suburbs. So we have a Burger King right next door. And I tell my staff, I'm like, look, if people were hungry, they'd go over there. They'd go into the Burger King line, and they would want, and if they didn't want human interaction, they would just go talk to the little computer box thingy, and it's like, okay, cool, like let's order that, no human interaction, have my, burger, go home, right? What we sell is an experience. What every cocktail bar or good bar or restaurant sells is an experience. It's not the food. I know that that's easy to like mix up, but people don't go to restaurants for food. And I know that sounds weird, but yeah. El Gran Tesoro. ¿Cuándo los videos en español? So I speak Spanish fluently, I would say. My first language is Portuguese, English. In this video that I have coming out of the trip down to Mexico, I actually did speak Spanish, and you can catch some of it in the video. I tried to remove most of it because I don't love my spoken Spanish. My understanding of Spanish and written, like reading Spanish, is much better. Speaking, I always sometimes get a little mixed up, unfortunately. Carlisle B, you said you expect to see a number of tequila brands be gone the next year or two, but given the I'm assuming the dive in price of agave in the last week, wouldn't that cause the opposite, more overnight crap brands? Yes and no, because it's like, okay, it might be cheaper to get into it, but you also have to do a significant investment to even get off the ground. So I think that smart people, I'm sure some dumb people are still going to try to launch a tequila brand. I get messages every single day asking me if they can send me a bottle of their new brand because they just got a new brand. And I'm like, I just don't answer because I'm not here. Like, people think I'm dumb and think that I don't understand the platform that I have. Like, I'm not just going to give you free stuff, especially if I don't know you, if I don't like you, if you don't, like, you've never had a personal relationship with me at all. So, yeah, I don't know. Matthew Black, consumers have a difficult time accepting something unless they know how to categorize it, whether the name, where it's from, tells them how to enjoy it. Is that why we don't have a U.S. tequila? Two things about that. I think you're super right up until that last sentence. I think that a lot of people, they want to feel, what sells things, right? It's a story. So if it's an easy story, it's easier to sell. But we actually do have agave products being created in the U.S. They cannot be labeled as tequila. Tequila has a denomination of origin for Mexico. No other country can make tequila. So there are some agave spirits being made outside of Mexico. So some in Texas, California, Arizona, and even there's this dude out in Australia apparently that is making agave products because out there it has a very, very similar climate to like the deserts of Mexico. So the agave plant is like thriving out there. So there are other non-Mexican agave products. I've not tried them. So I do not know. Tony Travel Bar, I'll give a follow and have to make some lunch right now. What are you having for lunch? And thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. William Donnie, would you have any recommendations for a Canadian bartender to expand his options? I'm trying to think about it. I'm trying to read, sorry. Very limited to Cimarron and Espolón. So I'll tell you this right now. The only advice I can think of after I went up to Montreal is leave. And I know that's not what you want to hear because I think that the liquor boards in Canada are very difficult with that. If you have Cimarron, I think you can make some incredible tequila cocktails. Drop the Espolón, it's not worth it. It's made by not a great distillery. Cimarron is good. I know Tres Agaves was up there when I was in Montreal. I know you said Ontario, so it's a little bit different. Or no, you said Canadian, sorry. I'm just assuming things. I do know that it's very hard in Canada to get good tequila. I'm sorry, I wish there was a way I could tell you, but that's just the laws of your country. I mean, here in America, some of the states have weird laws too that they can't get good stuff, so that's just how it is. What did you do before starting a restaurant? I used to bartend. I was right before I bought a restaurant. I was working as a bar manager, and then I worked at another restaurant as just a bartender because I couldn't deal with the restaurant group I was working at. But prior to that, to answer your question, Majin Joe, is what did I study in college? I studied business with a focus on entrepreneurship. But while I was bartending, I actually had two companies. I had a marketing company that focused on uh, marketing and graphic design for small businesses. So I used to make websites, menus, um, basically anything that a small business would need. And then I was kind of sick of getting screwed over by my clients, and I folded that company. And then me and some friends, we had a very ill-advised clothing company for a little bit. And I used to make a lot of YouTube content for that. I'm not going to tell you what the channel is. I won't, because I'm still a little embarrassed about it. But I used to make 3 pieces of content a week about soccer as a way of trying to get people to buy our clothes. It was more of a reason to just make content, which is I really loved. When you're hiring at your restaurant for bartenders, what is it that separates who you'd hire from who you wouldn't, outside of experience? Good fucking attitude. And I mean that in the best sense possible. Sometimes I don't want to hire someone who has a lot of experience. I'd rather someone who's a team player and willing to listen and willing to work with me and willing to, be a team player, because that's the most important part to me. Like, great, you can make really good drinks. I can teach someone to make really good drinks. I don't need, experience is cool, but I need someone who has a good attitude. You can't teach attitude, and that's just how it is. So that's the most important thing. All right, let's see here. I need to get some water because my throat is dry. But give me a moment. Any good spring cocktails you've been working on? No, because I've been actually, that's a lie. I came up with one that I really enjoy. I'm still trying to fine tune it. It is Pisco Reposado Tequila cashew juice, not the nut, the fruit. Go look it up. Basil and a little bit of cinnamon. It's really tasty, and I'm just trying to really tweak it. Have you ever been to Italy, and was it worth it? I got married in Italy, and it was certainly worth it. That country will always have a place in my heart. I love it there. I loved it there. The only thing that I find interesting about Italy, and it's not a criticism, it's just how their culture is. They are very literal, especially when it comes to restaurants. You cannot ask for things to be done differently, really, than the way that they want to do them. And you know what? From a hospitality standpoint, I actually agree with them. And I think that from a restaurant's perspective, if you're really fine-tuned and you really know what you're doing, the guest shouldn't really be asking for different things. It's that's why you go to that restaurant. But I just found it funny. Do you trust Costco tequilas? No. I have a whole video reviewing them that you can check out. What do you think of Dobel? Dobel is made by Jose Cuervo, and that should tell you all that you need to know. Jordan T, it's my birthday. Happy birthday. Let's see. All right, what else we got for interesting questions? We know you have a collection of tequila, but what about rum? It's not a collection, it's a bar. We serve these spirits. And yes, we have a lot of rum. I've talked a lot about rum recently. On Monday, I spent an hour talking about rum on the live. But yes, I have. Lalo Tequila good, I think so. What was the big news from yesterday? I missed it. I had to sign off. Newport, the big news is that I'm giving away $500. $500 to the winner of my cocktail competition. I am hosting a cocktail competition for me, by me, not sponsored. There's no brand involved. It's just me. I'm just asking people to submit it on my website. There's a link in my bio on every social media platform. And there you'll be able to submit your cocktail. You'll ask for the recipe, a photo, the story of your cocktail, and then I will pick my favorites, and I'll do a video tasting through my favorites, and then I'll announce the winner, and they will win $500. And also, I haven't announced this yet, but anybody who signs up to the newsletter will be entered to win $100. And that's just for signing up for the newsletter. I was gonna announce that in the announcement video, but all right. I saw any other interesting cocktails to try with cachaça instead of caipirinha? Yes, I have a whole video on my YouTube where I made cachaça cocktails that are not the caipirinha. So you can check those out there. I'm not going to go into detail right now. There's tons of cocktails that use cachaça. My entire bar menu is actually, most of it is based on cachaça. Yeah. Your favorite gin? My favorite gin is probably St. George's Terroir. It's my favorite gin. I got into some. I know they're a little mad at me at St. George because I made a video a long time ago that was one of my first videos to go viral. It was me breaking a bottle of vodka, and the only bottle of vodka I had in house is the only bottle of vodka that I still have in house. It's St. George. Like you won't find bottles of vodka at my bar and restaurant. There's no vodka anywhere. I only keep one in my well because unfortunately people ask for it. There's a very popular saying amongst bartenders that vodka pays the bills, and I hate that. I don't list vodka, but if someone asks for a caipirinha with vodka, I can make it, and it's St. George's all-purpose vodka. So unfortunately, the only bottle I had, I broke this bottle of St. George's vodka to prove a point, and I felt bad, and I'm sure they're mad at me. But I love St. George's stuff, and I've always been talking about them. Their gin is amazing. Oh shit. I'm not sure if a lot of you are more recent joinees to this. I saw the short about you using Eagle Rare as well. How is that possible? Well, rewind 6 years, and Eagle Rare was really easy to find. It should have been called Eagle Easy. Oh, that was terrible. Don't mind me. Did you just break another one? Almost, but no. And so back then, it was like a $30 bottle. So we used to use it for Manhattans, and it was in our well. It was a good time. Now I'm limited to buying 3 every month, which is stupid. So I might stop buying it because I think it's dumb. Any chance of getting to do an interview with Lalo Gonzalez? Had the pleasure of meeting him in Destin, Florida. Nice guy and had a great stories about his family. I'd love to talk to Lalo. I don't know if our paths will cross. I hope so. When are you coming out with a single barrel pick? I'm not. Someone asked me on a live the other day on Instagram, and it was, when are you going to come out with your own tequila? I'm never going to come out with my own tequila. I think, how can I sit here and talk about other celebrities and people who have influence getting into tequila for the wrong reasons, and then I just go into it to make money? I don't need that. I have a job. I have my content. I really don't need it. I have a project that I have in mind. I would love to do a special release of a tequila with a specific partner. I have to find the right person, the right project, the right producer. But if I do this, it would be 100% for charity. I would make no money on it. I do not want to make money off of a tequila ever in my life. I am not going to do it. Maddie the Camel. Hey man, I'm new to tequilas. Anything budget friendly to start? Tons. Right on my YouTube. Do a little research. Why is celebrity tequila so much more available than better tequilas? Is it just that lower cost and name value make it easier to push? Yeah, think about it this way. If you're a liquor store owner or a bar owner, I'll tell you this right now, most people who own bars and restaurants don't know what the fuck they're doing. Me included. We're just trying to do our best. But a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. They just, someone looks at you and gives you a brand that you're like, okay, there's this brand, it's Cascanes, it's like $100. You know nothing about it. You don't know anything about it. Your only point of reference is who the other option is. So then someone goes, okay, but I have this Casamigos, George Clooney used to own this. And all of a sudden you go, oh, okay, I like George Clooney in that movie. Let me buy his shit fucking tequila and sell it. That's how these things go, unfortunately. It's just the truth. It sucks. You just gotta have people who are more knowledgeable. That's what I'm trying to do, share knowledge. You're making money off tequila bar. Yeah, selling it at my bar. I'm talking about owning a brand. That's what we were talking about, Archie, or Cat Steele. Sorry, read the wrong name. Pardon me. Tell us how you really feel about Casamigos. No, I had to stop. People kept getting annoyed and yelling at me in the comments, so I've talked enough about it. You can find videos about it. How do you start your own bar? I don't know. I don't know how to tell you that. It's someone asked me the other day, it was like, what's your advice for someone wanting to start a bar? My first advice is only do it if you really love hospitality. If you don't, if it's just to make money, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point. It's like, if you're just trying to make money, there's so many other ways to make money than running a restaurant. And if you don't love what you do, this is gonna eat you alive. Like, you will not last a year. You know what I mean? Like, this is a brutal industry. It takes a lot out of you, a lot out of your personal life. It's not profitable for the very long time. So it's like you have so many roadblocks and things that will impede you from doing from doing anything for so long. And I talked to my wife. She had to deal with my annoying ass for the several first years of us opening a bar. And like, you know, now I'm finally at a point where I can take some more time off. I can actually spend time with my family. But for the first several years, I couldn't do any of that. Obviously there was a global panoramic happening, and that really was difficult to deal with. But you know, my biggest advice is ask yourself why you want to open a bar. Really, really. And if it's anything less than I love hospitality, I love the feeling of putting a drink in front of someone that I created or that we made, and seeing a person's face light up. If it's anything short of that, don't do it, man. You're gonna make a poor financial decision, because it's already a poor financial decision to begin with. But if you really don't love it, you're never gonna be able to grow it to a point where you actually see any sort of results. You know what I mean? So that's my advice. If you don't love that, then don't do it. How did you start your own bar? Well, I got together with family members. I sold them on my vision of what we wanted to do, and they helped me acquire the place. Then we renovated it. There's a whole story that I'm going to make a video on very shortly, but that's kind of the long and short of it. I have family members who believed in me and believed in the project and invested in it. And then the panoramic happened, and then I thought that I ruined my family's lives because they put all this money into a restaurant business that couldn't even operate for many months. So we don't have to go into my PTSD about that. You have a big forehead. Thanks. This one's pretty big too. What's the elevator pitch for your bar? It is a modern craft cocktail bar that is focusing on South and Latin American spirits, serving the best version, or at least our favorite version of Brazilian barbecue. Bum, bum, bum. Sorry, just going through some other questions. Ba-da-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. I buy every one you recommend. I really hope not, because I recommend a lot of things. Do you answer most questions? I try. Kirby Miller, are you Brazilian? I am Brazilian. Tsubasa Ozora, are you going to watch the Brazil versus Mexico Women's Gold Cup game tonight? Probably not. I am so stinking busy this week. I actually don't even know why I'm live with you guys right now. I have a mountain of work I have to do. But I wanted to go live again. I'm going away next week, and so I wanted to go live. So you got cooks and food menus. Yep, that's how most restaurants operate. Damn, you guys are asking a lot of good questions now. After I was yelling at you guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate you guys being more creative with your questions. I'm trying to go through them though. Bum, bum, bum. Hennessy Hendricks, I've seen you mention Old Grandad Bonded as a good cheap bourbon before, alone with many other people, but is it a good sipping whiskey? I think so. I would say so. I think it's a decent sipping whiskey, especially for the price. I think it's not bad. I've had worse. It's pretty good. Carlos Sarmiento. Hey, Louie. Hey, Carlos. How are you? Knocking stuff over. Elios F. How does it feel having a channel revolved around a fan base that's 99% tequila? Do you ever feel like talking about other spirits? I talk about other spirits, just no one pays attention to it. So I'm going to be honest with you. It does bother me because as much as I love talking about tequila, there's only so much you can really talk about. And it's like, I've been recognized in the street and in places as, hey, that's the tequila guy. And it's like, I feel like I have more to offer the world than just things about tequila. I've spent a lot of time talking about cachaça, rum, gin, whiskey. No one seems to care, at least when I post about it. So I do still post about it. I actually posted a video yesterday about easy whiskey cocktails that you can make. And I do my thing. I try to talk about a more well-rounded approach. My whole goal is to talk about South and Latin American spirits and to do some cool stuff. Why is chartreuse in such high demand lately? I have a whole video about that, but the short version of it is because monks don't want to be told how to live their lives. Recommendations for beginner cocktails using egg whites. It weirds me out, but I gotta try one. I have a whole video on how to safely use egg whites in a cocktail, but I would recommend the pisco sour. It's a great way to get an introduction into tequila, into pisco, and also a really tasty egg white cocktail. And I know you guys all care about tequila, and I try to accommodate that. And to go back to the question about what it's like to have 99% of the people who follow me only care about tequila, it's just a reality that I've kind of learned to accept. I'm not gonna stop making cool, different stuff at this point. So I'm gonna just do fun stuff. I'm gonna do what I believe in, and I hope that you guys like it. I'm gonna mix stuff in, obviously, because you gotta feed the algorithm, you gotta feed these platforms, and if it's what you guys wanna see, then it's my job to kind of give some of that, right? But I'm not only gonna talk about tequila. That's terrible. Do you fuck with food recreation cocktails like a PB and jelly gimlet, for example? Like, do I personally do it? I don't personally do it a lot because my bar is very limited. So what we do at my bar is we built this bar ourselves without any real knowledge of what we were doing. This was like 5 years ago now. So a lot of stuff here we're very limited on. If we ever go to another place that has a larger bar, I will get more into that. But some of the best cocktails I've ever had have been food recreation ones. So Double Chicken Please in Manhattan, they have a cold pizza cocktail that actually tastes like cold pizza. Blew my mind when I had it a couple years ago at this point. They also have a key lime pie one that is so dope. What's the tasting difference between pisco and cachaça? They are vastly different spirits. One's made from grapes, one's made from sugarcane. So just that, they're very different. Like one's gonna taste like grass and sugarcane, and the other one's gonna taste like grapes a little bit. Casey Chapman, how do you think the guy interview went? What was the overall response? I was actually very worried about the response for that video because I've been very a vocal antagonist, I guess, of celebrity involvement in tequila. And then it's like, oh, here's this guy putting out a video interviewing a celebrity who has tequila. And I only accepted the interview because they reached out to me, was because I actually tried the product. It's good. It's additive free. And and I have a lot of respect for Guy for what he did for the restaurant industry during the panoramic. So I was very worried about the response that video was going to get. Luckily, it seems like a lot of people really enjoyed it. And so it's been doing well. It's been pretty well. It's probably one of the best videos I've posted this year. This year, YouTube's been a little interesting with my views. Maybe that's just beginning of the year kind of thing where it's harder to get viewership for alcohol when a lot of people are doing like cleanses and like dry January or whatever. Do you ever take recommendations from your fan base on what tequila to try? Oh, absolutely. So many of the videos that I've done have actually come from suggestions you guys have done. There's not like a portal that you guys can submit it to. I pay attention to what you guys comment. I'm reading a lot of it all the time. And so I am paying attention. PUBG AKK asks, Ala Madrid, are they playing today? I kind of want to see if Madrid is playing today. If they are, I'm very interested in watching that. The fact that Jude Bellingham got a red card for yelling at the ref the other day was wild. Everybody asking me for a good bourbon or whiskey under $50. I have a whole video of budget whiskeys. I'm not going to spend time on the live doing this. What do you do with a bottle of Clase Azul or Reposado a friend gives you as a gift? Do you ever drink it? No. If I have a friend ever give me a bottle of Clase Azul, I might not be their friend for very much longer. And I mean that. They should know by now. No, obviously, if someone brought me as a gift, I'd be like, oh my God, thank you so much. And I'd put it on a shelf, and then when they left, I'd find another use for it, like a baseball bat or a crowbar. Any competitions coming up you're in? None that I am participating in at the moment. I did apply to be on Drink Masters, the Netflix show. Haven't heard back from them. They did say that they were like pushing forward the casting, so who knows? Maybe they'll still want me. I don't know if I'm gonna want them at this point because I have a lot going on at the moment that I won't be able to step away from. I've got a lot of business stuff that I have to that I got to attend to this year. That's about what I'm gonna say about it because there's a lot. I can't talk more about it. So yeah, there's a lot of business things that are happening in the background that will be taking up a lot of my time. What got you into tequila? We covered it earlier in the live. Long story short is a book called Spirits of Latin America by Ivy Mix. Tom Betty, where are you located? Currently behind my bar. And my bar is located in Marlborough, Massachusetts. All right, you guys are repeating the same questions. Ask me something crazy. Ask me something wild. I'm gonna grab myself a water, and then you guys ask a real good question. Do not ask, what's your favorite thing? That sounds like a kid. What's your favorite color? It's green. No, get interesting. Louis, I can't remember. Have you done a side-by-side of the old and new Cascanes? I actually did. It's a very old video. It's on TikTok. It's on Instagram. I compared them side-by-side. I do believe that I liked the newer one slightly more. They're very similar because the water source is still the same. But I do prefer the newer one. Do you make beer? I do not make beer. Did you attend Julio's Liquor Grand Dram this past weekend? No, I did not. I run a bar and restaurant. I can't always attend a lot of events, unfortunately. All right, you guys come up with really good questions for a second. I have to go get a water. Do not ask me what best spirit is under X price or anything like that. Tom Betty, I'm gonna answer your question in a minute. Give me a second. All right. Have you been to Spain, going to Barcelona next month for the first time? I have been to Spain. My wife lived in Spain. My wife lived in Spain. She lived in Madrid for a year. And I have a lot of love for the country of Spain, especially the city of Madrid. Barcelona is really great. I think Barcelona is awesome. If you go to Barcelona, make sure you check out Paradiso. It's one of the best cocktail bars. It's actually, I think, currently the #1 cocktail bar on the planet, if I'm not mistaken. Jonathan Sanchez, would you hire a bartender and train them to be your protege so you can run the business on the back end? I don't bartend every day. My staff, I've trained them. So I have 2 bartenders right now. I don't bartend unless I have to. I run the business already. But thank you, I appreciate it. And I would, and that's what I do. That's actually what I do. So Tom Betty, back to Barcelona. There is another really great bar. It's in Las Ramblas, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, but they made an avocado shrub when I was there, and it was bomb, so good. So yeah, Barcelona is a beautiful city. What I love about Barcelona is that it's like 5 different climates, right? So you have the beach right there, which is really dope. You have the mountains, which is really dope. You have the city. It's a very compact city. You have a lot of green area up in there in the park in Park Güell, which is awesome. The architecture there is amazing. And yeah, no, Barcelona, outstanding city. But if you have time, check out Madrid. Madrid is a sneaky place. A lot of people think of it as not really that fun. Madrid is amazing. Madrid is chef's kiss. Love Madrid. What kind of restaurant do you own? It's a modern craft cocktail bar and Brazilian barbecue type place. Most important aspect of tequila making, non-negotiable. 4 days in Madrid? Great. Get a pen and paper. I'm going to tell you some recommendations right now. I'm going to give you a minute to get a piece of paper, and I'm not joking. Do this right now, Tom Betty. You're not going to regret it. So, in Madrid, there is a bar called Salmon Guru. Fucking amazing. Incredible bar. It's on the list of the top 50 bars in the world. There's also another one called 1861, if I'm not mistaken. So those 2 are craft cocktail bars. Really killer. If you want the experience of a really traditional Spanish neighborhood bar, there's a place in the neighborhood of Malasaña called Casa Camacho. It is a vermouth bar. It is my favorite place on the planet in Madrid. My wife and I have a framed photo or a framed art print of the front of that bar and restaurant in our house. I love that place. Every time I go to Madrid, I make sure I stop in there. Retiro Park is beautiful. But in terms of food and drinks, Salmon Guru, uh, Salmon Guru, and oh my God, what's the other one? 1861, and then Casa Camacho. Um, and then if you want something more like chill, there's a place called El Tigre. They have 4 locations, small little Spanish pub type style thing, and you get food just brought to you if you order a drink, which is awesome. Um, Loriander, with agave prices going down, are tequila mezcal going to be cheaper in the future? Here in Denmark, tequila mezcal is so expensive. I doubt it. I don't think anyone's going to make things cheaper. Because at the end of the day, like, why would they make it cheaper if you're willing to buy it now? So unless a new brand comes up and does things really well on making a really good budget option, it's not coming down. No brand is going to reduce their price, especially with inflation going up. So even if the cost of producing agave has gone down, the prices aren't. You can't put. Think about it this way. You can't put toothpaste back in a tube once it comes out. You know what I mean? That's kind of the metaphor I'm using there. I wish Terramana was available everywhere. That's dumb. I wish it was available nowhere. Man, you guys retreated. See, now you guys are going back to dumb, boring questions like, where can I get this and what's better than this? Like, get some interesting questions going, guys. Come on. And I'm probably going to wrap it up soon. So either y'all come up with really interesting questions in the next minute, or I'm out. I mean, I'm going to be out anyway soon, but come up with something cool to keep me around. I enjoy going live because I never know what we end up talking about. We actually didn't even talk about anything of the stuff that I wanted to talk about. But yeah. Cool. Adrian, that's awesome, man. Happy that you guys liked it. Tony Vergara, have you tried the Cascahuin Siete Veces Diez? Yes, we killed the bottle 2 weeks ago. It was awesome. This question I get asked a lot, and I don't understand it. What cocktail should I order at a bar so that I don't look like a toddler? Something along those lines. Like, first of all, just make what the bar, like, order a cocktail from the cocktail menu. If it's not a good cocktail bar, don't order a cocktail. Drink wine, drink beer. Do I need to be a subscriber in order for you to answer my question? I don't know who's a subscriber at this point, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not like TikTok or YouTube tells me. It's just people in the lives. So, yeah. What do bitters do to a drink? Great question. Bitters are like salt and pepper to a steak. Think of it that way. So it's like bitters will be like they're a flavor modification agent. You're just missing them. That's why. It's not that I'm missing them. I'm purposely ignoring dumb questions because I think that you guys always ask the same stuff that you could just Google. So sometimes I do ignore questions. Sometimes I do miss them, but sometimes I do ignore them. So think of bitters like salt and pepper to steaks. They are bitters. Bitters are to cocktails what salt and pepper are to steaks. It's a way to season, and it's like a little bit of a flavor modification of a cocktail. That's how I view. That's the role of bitters in a cocktail. Nice outfit, bro. Thanks, bro. I hope that wasn't sarcastic. Do you have some tips on what? Like hairstyling, skateboarding, surfing, bartending? Did you take a bartender school? No, and I don't think anyone should, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, like, you can learn so much on the internet for free. I put out a 45-minute video basically encapsulating exactly what I teach my bartenders. Yes, is there more reps and more practice? Sure, but like I've put out that, so that means that someone who's better than me at this has done way more. Hi, Louis, big fan. Any advice on getting into bartending, even though I'm in grad school, about to go into the chemical industry and haven't had hospitality industry experience in 10 years? Why do you want to get into bartending? Is it for money? Is it for cash? Is it for love? Is it for, what's the reason, right? My advice would be learn as much as you can from the internet, from books, from cool places like that, and then find a place that'll hire you. It's not like it's not the most robust industry. A lot of places will, because they need it, will hire you. Or find a bar that you love and you're like, yo, I want to work here. What do I need to do? And they might start you off as a bar back, and it just depends how much you want it. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to say. What is your personal favorite cocktail right now? My personal favorite cocktail right now is the same as it always is. It's my favorite cocktail of all time is the Naked and Famous. For the competition, would you suggest less complex ingredients? I feel like if I make a too complex thing or with an ingredients you replicate won't be precisely the same. I can't answer that. That would do what you think is best. I'm gonna pick the cocktails that I think are the best, the ones that are the most well executed, the ones that make it the best. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I like the recipe, I will recreate it. Try to do it the exact same way that someone has created it. So, are Luxardo cherries worth the money? Depends on what you're using them for. Are you eating them at home or are you serving them? Either way, I think the answer is yes. What's your most expensive tequila that you personally own and treasure? I've killed a couple of bottles that are very expensive. The El Tesoro Anniversary Edition, I killed. That was like an $800 bottle. The Cascajuin Siete Veces Diez, someone told me was retailing or doing a secondhand market for like $800. And that one I also killed. All right, friends. Probably going to end up winding this down in a little bit. Joseph Keogh, and I would love to hear your skateboarding tips. No, you wouldn't. I've never ridden a skateboard in my life. When will you do more mezcal reviews? I have some coming. I recorded some recently. How long did it took to open a restaurant? It's hard to answer that. I've had this restaurant for 5 years. I mean, we bought it from someone else. It's like 2 months. How did you get your hair to look good? My hair doesn't look good right now. There's a weird thingy right here that just won't stop. It just won't stop coming down. Yeah, I've been growing my hair out for like over a year now. Thank you, though. Appreciate you guys thinking my hair looks good. My phone's gonna die. How did you guys think the audio came out on, do you plan on doing more original cocktail competitions? Trey, I'm doing a competition now. The deadline hasn't passed. The deadline is March 18th. So submit your original cocktails now. You can win $500. Hobbies besides cocktail booze. I am obsessed with football, and not American hand egg. I mean European football, soccer. I'm to a degree that is. I spend more time in my day-to-day thinking about men chasing after a ball than I do anything else, and that includes my business. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's my cue. It's 3:15. I gotta get my bar cleaned up because my bartenders are coming in at 4. So unfortunately, I gotta clean all this up, and I have my lights everywhere, and all this stuff is all over the place. So I hope you guys enjoyed the live. Sorry if I was a little snarky about people asking the same questions all the time. It's just because it's boring. Like, you guys treat me like I'm Google. Like, let's have fun on here if I'm live. You know what I mean? Like, I have so many videos that you can go through and search for on Instagram, on YouTube. Just like, go search for it. I'm not Google. Use the time that I'm live for us to have some fun. That's what I want to do when I come on to the lives, you know? So anyway, if you haven't already, submit an original cocktail. Submit an original cocktail. You can win $500. No strings attached. It's a cocktail competition. I'm gonna pick my favorites, and then I'm gonna pick someone to give them $500. So do that. What's fun to you? Spending time with friends. That's what's fun to me. Later.